Hey there! This week on Ask Kristen, I'm going to tell you some good news and also some bad news. Which do you want first? This week's question is coming from Raquel Joanne. Long comment short, Raquel wants to know, do you think you could talk about interracial couples in a video? I'm familiar with channels from and about people in interracial marriages and the like, but I'd be interested in some info that is not purely anecdotal. Interracial couples and marriage are things that we have talked about in depth on Stuff Mom Never Told You, the podcast. International listeners watching, I'm about to break your heart and tell you, as I do often, that the data that I'm going to be talking about is from an American group. It's from the Pew Research Center. I would love to get your insights, though, for a more global perspective. But when it comes to the United States, things have gotten better. A little bit of history. In 1967, a very pivotal court case happened called Loving v. Virginia. Even though, of course, that Supreme Court decision would not erase racist stigma around people of different ethnicities dating or getting married. But our society has evolved for the more accepting post Loving v. Virginia. According to data from the Pew Research Center, more people are interracially marrying than ever before, and more people, a vast majority of Americans, are totally fine with it. Especially if you break it down by generation. Millennials are like, I don't care who you marry. Seriously. 9% of respondents who said that the rise of interracial marriage is a bad thing for society. Unfortunate that they exist, not surprising that they exist, considering the fact that, yeah, racism still totes exists, but at least that's better than where we were in 1987 when only 48% of people thought that it was cool for black and white folks to date each other. But we still have to keep in mind that those statistics today, reflecting how we're all like totally fine with interracial coupling, might gloss over the lived experiences of interracial couples. There was a case, I believe in California not too long ago, where a white guy whose girlfriend is black was stopped by police because they seemed to think that he was her pimp. I was actually reading a piece by Victoria Chen in Vice recently about how she, as an Asian woman, dates a white guy, and they're constantly having to field these stereotypes that he is only interested in her because she's Asian and she has betrayed her heritage because she's interested in a white guy. It's also worth considering the relative absence of interracial relationships on TV and film. I think that Hollywood can be actually a decent reflection of these kinds of gaps between our statistical acceptance and our actual real world acceptance. I'm curious to know from viewers, are you in an interracial relationship and have you ever had to deal with nonsense because of that? Also, doesn't interracially dating sound like such an antiquated term? If you are watching this outside the United States, are there similar stigmas in place? Do we still have hang-ups when it comes to interracial couples? Let me know in the comments. Thanks to everybody who watched and commented on last week's Ask Kristen video. Why is feminazi insulting? There were some colorful discussions. One comment though that I wanted to shout out came from Runner. I live in Germany, and this is not a word you'd catch anyone here using for a variety of reasons. People using the word feminazi or even grammar Nazi show a lack of education, empathy, and responsibility for the harm their words cause. There are so many more constructive ways to end a debate or shut someone down or say just walk away, but name calling and using a word linked to a horrific chapter in history is not one of them. And as always, be sure to ask me your questions so I can give you some answers.